And we're back after a huge win for Newcastle United against Manchester United, the old rivals. Got a bit of revenge. Huge 3 points, and we've leapfrogged them into third position. We're going to be discussing all that with Tom, Alex and Pete, as well as looking ahead to the West Ham game with the lads travelling down to London. But before all that, give this episode a like, follow the podcast, and do that while you listen to this little word from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Sword Thailand, lead Thailand specialists in the Northeast, covering all aspects including commercial and domestic. They've got you covered. So head to sword_Thailand on Instagram and tell them St. James's Pod sent you. Right then, lads, let's dive straight in with the Man U game. Starting lineup. Any surprises? Pete, I think you called it. Same lineup as the Forest game.
It's given though. I think it's just what Eddie Howe does. He doesn't. It's a winning formula. You don't change it, really, do you? We played well against Forest, played well against Wolves. So there's no need to change it. He's obviously there, but there's no one to drop. Who are you going to drop for playing good? I think Joe Linton would know that as well. I think the whole team would know that. If the team's doing well and they've had an injury or something, they're not just getting straight back in, unless they're like a vital player. But yeah, I had no issue with that. I was more than happy to keep with the starting team that I had.
Yeah, there was obviously big pressure on Maxi because we kind of highlighted him as somebody who could have been swapped out for Joe Linton, and yeah, I think even in the game, like there were moments where I was doubting whether or not it was the right call to have started Maxi, but as we obviously the game went on, and he was obviously a massive part in the goal, so yeah, kind of proved me wrong in the end.
Well, Man U's lineup was, I thought Fred would probably come in. I think we talked about this in the preview. We thought it would be Fred and McTominay in the centre, and Sabitzer started. So what did you make of his performance?
Well, I was saying to Pete during the game, I was like, during that first half, he just didn't influence the game at all, going forward or defending. He just barely seemed to get a touch on the ball. It's like we did have that extra man in midfield, and I know like Bruno Fernandes did sit quite deep, and he was getting the ball off the centre halves quite a bit to try and get things going. But it was like they were a man down, even though we're sort of lined up almost the same. It was like they were a man down in midfield because McTominay was putting the graft in that he usually does. Might not have had his best game. Bruno, obviously, he's quality on the ball and he's trying. Thankfully, he didn't have the best game either. But Sabitzer, I don't know what he added to that team. And I know I've watched the game back today, and Neville mentioned, I think there might be some changes at half-time to Man U. And I'm surprised that Ten Hag took so long to get Sabitzer off the field and put Fred on, because, yeah, he was just an absolute passenger. I think he got that one wrong.
Oh,
there was some massive hole in the midfield without Casemiro. It was just so obvious. It's mad how there was a lot of talk. Obviously, the Man U being on a bit of a run. There was a lot of talk about how giving it the old Rio Ferdinand Man United are back and all that. But it turns out it was just Casemiro. That was the reason.
Yeah.
I don't actually think they've been playing that well, though, even though they've been getting results. They never seem really... Well, yeah. Well, let's rewind right back to before the game. Ten Hag come out. We were just talking about it before we started recording. I think his comments about the money might have been slightly blown up in the press, but he also made comments about our style of play and trying to time waste and stuff again. And I found it very interesting straight away. David De Gea was quite clearly taking ages over his goal kicks.
Oh my God. That was absolute joke. Not even 5 minutes in. and they were already at it, and it just stunk of like just the hypocrisy of it, like for him to come out and say such a thing and then employ those same tactics. Like,
do you think you've been told? Do you think you've been told to play their own game as such? Because he mentioned it and then they were doing it. Like, is it rattle?
He would have been under instruction to take his time on goal kicks.
There's no way. I think you will.
There's no way to hear, like, he's playing for a big club or whatever. There's no way that he would have came out and made that decision himself to just waste time from the start. He was told to waste time. And, obviously Atwell wasn't pulling him up on it, like, for a while anyways. And then they started taking short free kicks with Lisandro Martinez to then mix it up. So, like, then Martinez was taking his time with it. So they were quite clever with like mixing it up between the two of them, so they wouldn't get booked. But it was from the off, and the crowd picked up on it early, which I'm glad, because obviously, like every single person in the crowd had heard what Ten Hag had said before the game, tried to get under the skin, and probably was successful in getting under the fan skin at least. So as soon as De Gea started it was pelters from the off.
Oh, definitely. But I mean, we do have to realise, and we have mentioned it before, we do it ourselves. So, like, you know, when another team like gives it a bit back, and like, you know, like we have to not necessarily have to accept it, but we got to like know that it could be a factor. Like we can't just act as though we don't do it at any point in any game. And we were definitely doing it down at Old Trafford. Like that was definitely part of our tactics. So, you know, they were just trying to play us at our own game, like give us a taste of our own medicine sort of thing. But I mean, it was quite, for a Man United team, I've never seen a Man United team come to St James's Park.
Little old Newcastle, wee club in the north.
And try that. Yeah, exactly. Like it just seemed like just such a really random thing for them. They normally want to come out and attack us and like get right in our faces, but they seemed very much like they were happy to sit off us and like try and waste time and I don't know, play for a point maybe.
Oh, they clearly had a game plan to play on the counter, and they would have been happy coming away with a point, and just trying to invite pressure and break quickly. But as Gary Neville says, this is Manchester United.
This is Manchester United.
Come to visit. As I said, a wee club in the north, and then playing on the back foot, wasting time on the counter. This is our first year where we've actually had some ambition, trying to do something, and we've already had teams come to St James's Park and shiting themselves.
We absolutely battered them from the get-go there. They could not play football at all. We played them off the park in every way. Won the battles, won the second balls, passed it around them, the counter-attack down the flanks. Jacob Murphy outstanding again. The middle of the park, Bruno just running the show. It was little stat for you. Fabian Shaw had more touches in the opposition box than Fernandes, Rashford and Sancho combined. That's how shit they were.
Had more expected concussions as well. The XC.
Oh, yeah. Stand up. XC.
Honestly, yeah. I don't know how every single home game it feels like shares down with a head injury. Like he's mental.
Two as
to
well.
To be fair, when we're talking about getting into them straight away, I think that helped the fans because the atmosphere was like just bouncing the whole game, like from start to finish. It was mint. We spoke about the atmosphere on the last pod with the safe stand and stuff. It was actually, what you saying before, I wonder if they're getting into practice because there was about 5 rows in front of, like, nearly the whole of the strawberry corner was on their feet the whole game. It was absolutely brilliant. And the atmosphere was just bouncing. Like I say, as soon as De Gea had the ball in his hands, the crowd were just booing him and whistling at him and just trying to rattle him. And it was working, 100%. Anthony is so bad, £70 million player. He's terrible. You'd think he should have Dan Burn on toast, but he couldn't. Don't get me wrong. He knocked the ball past him a couple of times, but Dan Burn handled him.
It was a clear tactic. Again, I mean, how many times do we have to say it on this pod that teams constantly try and use Dan Burn as like the the scapegoat and like try and get in behind him, they target him, and he puts players on their arse. Like he was going through it, like he was putting the tackles in, and like you said, one or two times Anthony got behind, but they were trying that diagonal ball over the top of him and trying to get all sorts around him. But nah, I mean, Dan Burn
he was
class
getting
again.
Stuck in as well. Though. There was a bit of chew between them two, like, and it was great to see because Dan Burn was getting him absolutely riled.
Burn hates players like that, though, doesn't he? Like he's proper old school. So a player like Anthony. Did you? When he went, was it him who went down and then Tyndall was like over top of him?
Yes. Yeah. Was it? It was only about 15 minutes into the first half, wasn't it?
He was on the pitch as well.
Yeah,
he was giving them pelters like right in right over
just
the top of him.
him.
Like it was brilliant. I proper and like I don't understand though because he was like the ref. Fucking didn't have that was a moment where I thought the ref's losing it here because he's off the field and play should have carried on.
Yeah,
like,
the
and he stops the game. Like I'm like, why? Like he's off the field. Like I'm sure I don't know if he even had a hold of the ball, like or the ball was like next to him, but like the ref was just not letting play resume, and it was like clearly that wound up like our bench because. Again, it was another tactic of theirs to like waste a bit more time, but that could have been a flashpoint. There was a few flashpoints on the touchline that I noticed. Obviously a bit of niggle there.
That main one where Eddie was getting stuck in was due to the goal kicks, wasn't it? Because obviously we're saying to here from the off, he's taking ages over his goal kicks, and then as soon as Nick Pope took his time.
Ref went straight over and had a chat with him, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was as soon as it went 1-0,
Yeah.
And Ten Hag must have obviously started complaining about it. And then you see there's some wicked pictures, isn't there? There's like the one where Eddie's pointing in his face.
Steve
McLaren's like trying to get in between them. And then there's the other one where the whole like
they're in the line.
Newcastle.
Yeah,
have you seen the meme with the madness?
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, one step beyond. Yeah,
it's good. Like, but
it is class.
You can see from the corner. I said like you can see Eddie Howe like fucking going. I'm like that's the first time you've actually seen him like lose his cool a little bit. Like the mask slipped a little bit, and like obviously he's passionate. That's the first time he's actually sort of lost it a bit on the sideline, and you can tell he's fucking raging.
I think it's because like Ten Hag keeps calling into question our style of play and saying like we're basically just time wasters and there's no like decent football getting played, and I think that really pisses Eddie off, like because he obviously
but
his philosophy and his actual style of play is good football.
I think he said
he gets questioned about it like constantly as well.
No.
Didn't he say was it post match or pre match? And he said, "Listen, I don't know where this agenda of Newcastle love the time waste come from because we always want the ball in play. I mean, obviously we did time waste against Liverpool, against Man United, but 2 games out the whole season, man. Fucking hell.
That's the Arsenal one which people like take like offence to.
Yeah, the Arsenal one, the Liverpool one, and the Man United one.
Yeah,
3 games. Fuck me. It's just the big teams getting wrapped up because it's the whole fox in the hen house kind of thing. They don't like it that there's change.
Yeah. And like you were saying earlier, like teams have come to us and done that, and we've not like come out and been like complaining about it. It is part of the game. If you're in the lead, you're going to time waste a bit.
Eddie said, like I think it's all been blown out of proportion, and it has. Like Newcastle, honestly, it gets brought up constantly. Yet any other team do it, and it's fine. We've definitely been like targeted by whether it's managers or the media or what. That like Newcastle are this horrible, dirty team that don't play good football and waste time.
Opposition fans on Twitter are just like they're shocking for it as well. Like, and then that then feeds the media agenda and then just like spirals. And it takes away from like you say, like some of the better play that we do and the goals, the quality of the goals sometimes has been overlooked. I don't think in this case after after that game, I think all the attention was on the right things, thankfully. But previous games this season, yeah, it's some of the plays being overlooked because of that, which is unfair.
Just go back to the atmosphere, and you're talking about Gary Neville, Dawes. He come out and said that's the best atmosphere he's experienced since he's been working for Sky.
11 years.
And Pete, you were saying their fans had to get an escort from station.
So pre-match we were in Mayfair, top of the big market by the gate, and we're seeing the police presence come walking past the Mayfair outside, and they were escorting the Man United fans from Central to the ground, which you don't usually see. I don't know if it's because there's always been that slight rivalry there with Man United, hasn't there? But personally, I've never seen them get escorted from Central before.
Probably because of the final, isn't it? They're worried, like.
Well, I don't know. Like whether there was a bit of aggro, I don't know, at the final or at Old Trafford, I don't know. But it was a new thing. I've no idea. But the Mayfair's turned into a proper Newcastle bar now. The away fans are allowed in there. It's full of home supporters. So whether it's because now the away fans, if you walk straight from Central to the big market, you go straight past there. It's happened before, the Leeds fans. Whether they've thought now, right, okay, we can't let hundreds of away fans march past the Newcastle bar because it'll just end up in a big ruck, which usually it does. If the police weren't there, something would have happened. It would have. Someone would have hid a bottle, or someone would have just hid something. It would have happened. So I don't know. Maybe that's why they do it now.
I've seen like plenty police forces and that kicking about, which again, like you don't often see like the mounted units like for every game, but only for the real like big Category A games. And maybe it might have been a Category A game. I don't know what the categories are these days. But
just to jump in, when you're talking about the police forces and that, mate, it's obviously came out about the four lads who've had a banning order about the trouble after the Chelsea game. I know there was a lot of talk on Twitter, and I don't know if it's gone any further, but there was a big issue because where the away bus is parked down Barrett Road, there's another toon pub, the Black and White Bull, is literally across the road from where the away supporters get off the bus. And there's a lot of complaints. I mean, we don't go in there, we don't go that far up Barrett Road, but there's been a load of complaints that there's been absolutely no policing the situation of how close the home and away fans are. Obviously, when the whole Chelsea thing triggered off, there was no coppers there. Seen a lot of photos on Twitter that this game, there was a riot van and a police car parked bang outside the pub. So whether that might have something to do with the more police presence in the area, because there has been some complaints.
Sounds like it.
At least
it's a bit convenient, you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. But on Man United fans as well, like there was 4 of them sat behind me, which was only became apparent on the 85th minute when they all just got up and left, and somebody a couple of seats along from me was like, I heard them, like they were Man United fans, and I'm like, if only I'd known a bit earlier, I would have given them a bit of grief, but still. It annoys me how
got up off your padded seat and give them a piece of your mind.
How you
like slap them with the prawn sarnie, indeed. No, they just
shook your fist at them.
My programme, they slapped them with that. It just annoyed me that obviously away fans I don't even know how they thought they could. Or how it's allowed, but they would clearly like Man United fans.
Yeah, it could have been corporate seats, not got given to them.
I mean, they weren't wearing colours or anything, but they were, clearly Man U fans. Not
they're not
one of them.
Well, obviously, and that's a platinum club, but obviously they weren't singing and stuff like that, were they? Just sitting there watching the game.
No. I couldn't hear any accent to see if they were from Manchester way, but
I just wouldn't have any.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Just have the most neutral accent. But no, it's just annoying because, like, yeah, they obviously just sat there. Like, they turned up 5 minutes late as well at kick-off, so that should have been the warning sign. Clearly, Man United fans.
Late,
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, fuck them. That's all I've got to say on it.
Should we talk about the first goal then?
Yeah, I mean, it was always
Got
coming.
one missed chances before the goal. Christ.
Oh yeah, we were passing up chances.
Want to talk
for fun.
about them.
That first half. It went in at half time, and obviously we were delighted with how the first half was going because the performance was unreal. But we could have been a couple up by half time.
Quite easy.
Did you see in the video of when Willock blazes over the bar and both Isaac and St. Maximan's hit the deck?
Yeah.
Just, like,
Drop to the floor.
and I'm sure Shaw did as well. He was out of shot. I'm sure it was one of the centre halves. I remember, like, hit the deck as well. Like, fuck.
Yeah,
That was a nice move as well,
chance.
build-up wise. Yeah, I didn't realise how bloody Willock's won. Like the rebound one off De Gea. Like that should have been in. Like I know it's come at him quite quick, but like
it wasn't even a save though. It just hit him. I know it was a save.
Just
but,
hit
like,
it straight at him, didn't
Yeah, it hit straight at him. He didn't save it. Just hit his body. It wasn't like, oh, what a great double. I'm talking about what a great double save. It just hit
he?
him.
Yeah, no, that annoyed
You know what I
me.
mean? It was just in the way. Fucking hell.
First save was decent, but then he was just lying on the floor.
Good header, another good header by Isak. Isak's great in the air. Like he gets some leap, and he loves a little flick. That was a good save, but he just fell to the ground and Willock unfortunately just sprayed the ball at him. But here's what it is. We knew it was going to come when we're having them chances like that. It was just a matter of time. But Eddie Howe said it loads. You just got to keep going, and it'll come.
Longstaff came close twice as well, didn't he? It was like
That was a belter.
one header and then
one real shot.
rifle. Yeah.
oh man, I thought that was going top corner from the
That
analyze.
would have been a
Solid
screaming,
penalty.
cracking effort.
Oh man, I was waiting to fucking go for that one. Yeah, but no, the thing is, players like everyone was getting in these positions. Like it was not just like the same old like people getting these chances. Like everybody was like just getting. I mean that just might be down to the fact that the tactics or just like everybody just was that up for it that they were just all queuing up for a shot in the end. So I mean, I think by the end of the game, I think I seen a stat line that we'd had over 20 shots in the game, and that just kind of says it all. Really, like we were just peppering them at every opportunity.
Yeah, we seem to be shooting more instead of trying to just walk the ball into the goal. We seem to be shooting a lot more and working the keeper a lot more.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. There was a couple of moments though, like, and that's why I said with Maxi, where I was a bit like, obviously until the goal, like I was getting a bit frustrated because we were seeing a lot of them, like again, like getting the ball, chopping back in, holding on to it for a little bit too long, like getting surrounded by players. Occasionally, he would then lay it off, but like I feel like sometimes his decision making was a bit off in that first half, but then second half, I don't know, maybe Eddie's had a word with him and like kind of wanted a bit more from him, and well, he pops up with an absolute crucial moment.
Yeah, it was a great header that, like from the back post.
I think
across the goal.
That goal though, it starts with Isaac pressing, like madly pressing. If you watch it back, and then it's like scrappy, isn't it? Like Man U are trying to clear the lines where we keep winning back possession, and then it comes back to Isaac, plays Bruno through.
But it's Botman
Lovely
who wins
chip
just
to
before as well. Just when they look like they're going to break, Botman like pinches it, and that's when it obviously drops to Isaac.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it wasn't that
Bruno
Sabitzer as well that lost
sits
it on the
up,
area.
doesn't he?
I'm sure it was
Probably
Sabitzer that lost
losing
it
it
on
all
the area.
game.
Yeah, I think
was
it might have
awful.
been. Quality ball from Bruno though, like as we expect, like from that right side, and then instinctive really from Maxi, like, and from from the angle, obviously, but it was never really on for him to like try and head it directly at goal. But he did exactly what you needed to do, and like, I mean, Willock, where he always kind of ends up like running in late into the box, and I mean, yeah, place went absolutely wild when that one went in.
What I loved about that, obviously he scored. That goal looked like it meant so much to Willock. Like he was patting the badge and everything, but like it just looked like pure passion when he scored. Obviously, the whole squad went wild for it. You see Isak, when Willock was on the floor and Isak just went up, shoved him back. It just basically hoid him to the deck. But it looked like a massive ball. That, like Willock was buzzing. Maxi was giving it that over the shirt. Willock was giving it. It was just unreal to watch. I mean, obviously we couldn't see the celebrations that well from where we were.
Yeah.
But when you watch it back on Match of the Day and stuff like that, it was just immense.
Bruno was just giving it like proper arms out, like screaming at the Gallagher.
Loves it. Just absolutely loves it.
Yeah, man, it was absolute bedlam. Like it was obviously completely deserved and everything, but it just I don't know, because of all those chances that we'd missed, like fearing that we might get caught out or whatever. But nah, after that went in, it was nailed on.
25 million pound is now looking good business.
That's been for a long time.
Quality business, yeah.
Like to be fair, he's got those 8 goals in a row, whatever to keep up, but he's looking some player, like for his age as well, English. He's just, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago about like the amount of chances he creates. Like he's always there, he's always amongst it.
Yeah,
it's not just like the goals he scores. He's always driving forward. He's always creating.
Yeah,
He's just getting better and better.
He is. Like Shearer mentioned it on Match of the Day, didn't he? About Southgate needs to get up to St James's Park and start watching some of these players. Is that what you're going to say?
I was about to say that. I was about to say that Gareth Southgate needs to be like. I mean, we mentioned it before. Like, I don't know what else he needs to do. Like, he's scoring goals, he's making goals, he's generally a positive influence on the game. Like, England, like, could be crying out for somebody in that position instead of picking Calvin Phillips, who doesn't get a game.
That's exactly what Shearer said. Shearer sat there and said, instead of picking out of form players who aren't playing, get up to St James's Park and start having a look at some of these players. Like, you like
even Longstaff.
That's it. It was like Longstaff, Dan Burn,
Jacob Murphy.
I've just been speaking about Jacob Murphy. Why not? Get him in the squad.
Wait. That's the stat line that I've seen. No, Murphy, like, all right, somebody kind of miscalculated it, but they said that he's in every start that he's had this season, we've been unbeaten. But then looking back over it, he started the Sheffield Wednesday game. So, but you take the cup games out, and all league games that he started this season were unbeaten. I think we've won every one. Bar the trip to Old Trafford where we drew 0-0.
Miggy's going to have a hard time getting back into the team.
Oh, he will, but again, it's like we mentioned, it's great to have, like, if Murphy starts, then he's just been peppering that. Like, I mean, he was like, he kept Luke Shaw, like, Luke Shaw didn't have an influence going forward like he has normally. Like, he was constantly penned back. Like, Murphy was direct. He was either taking him down the line or like trying to, like, he put in a few good crosses. Like, sure, he put the cross in for that Isak header, which De Gea made the really good save from. There was loads of like variation in his crosses and what he was doing. Like, he was just such a positive, like, going forward.
He was tracking back loads as well, like, to help out Trippier. So when I'm talking about Trippier, Murphy helping out Trippier as well, I was going to say it earlier when we talk about Dan Burn. Longstaff seemed to be helping out Dan Burn a lot with Anthony. It seemed to, like, when Dan Burn was running backwards down the line, Longstaff was coming in at an angle almost to preempt Anthony just getting past him, and he seemed to be Longstaff seemed to be there. I think Longstaff put in a good shift helping out Dan Burn in the left back. Obviously, I know Maxi doesn't really do that, So it was good to see Dan Burn not isolated.
I
thought he was
running. Everyone did.
I thought Burn was up helping Maxi going forward a lot as well, a lot more than usual.
Yeah,
He's overlapping and giving him the option. I don't know if that's just because Man U were that bad that he could get up there, but
it's a massive high press.
hopefully it's something that worked on in training.
Mm-hmm.
Second goal.
Aye.
Well, yeah.
Another beautiful.
Obviously, Wilson's come on by that point, but what did you think to where? Obviously, he was going to make the triple change, wasn't he? And then we scored, and then he just did the double. Was it Gordon and Joe Linton came on first, and he made Wilson wait a little bit longer?
Yeah. Who was it that went off? It was Murphy and Willock.
Maxi and
was it Maxi?
Yeah, I think Maxi came off at about 67, and then
I
Well,
think
because
Maxi did come off.
Willock came off because I think he was feeling his probably feeling his hamstring a bit. I know he said in the press conference after that.
Anderson came on for him, I think.
Anderson, that was right. Yes. Willock said that he'd be fine. In his thingy, but yeah, like you say, when it was good to see. I think me and Dawson actually spoke about this after the match when Gordon and Joe Linton came on. The game didn't change. As in, like, the press stayed the same, the quality stayed the same.
There
wasn't like
no
it
drop
wasn't
off.
like we're bringing a sec. Yeah, exactly. There's no drop off. It wasn't like we're bringing like the second string of players on just to see out the game. We still went for it, and the both put a shit. It was could say that they've been playing all game because there was literally no difference in the way that we played.
It's not just the tempo of the game, like the style of play didn't change when we went 1-0 up. Like, was still going to attack. We didn't like sit and try and defend the lead like we've done in the past. And I didn't feel like nervous. I wasn't thinking like, oh shit, we're under the cosh here. Like it feels like Man U's inevitably going to get a goal. Like again, like we've done in the past when we've tried to conserve tight leads. We were still the team in the ascendancy. We were still creating the better chances. And when that second goal came in, it was more than deserved. Yeah, it was good to see. It was really good to see Wilson because obviously he's had a lot of probably a lot of shit since the World Cup. Really, he hasn't scored that many. He hasn't been playing particularly well. When he came on, like he was chasing down the keeper. He was doing the running. He was doing all the off the ball work like Isak has been doing, and then he pops up with a great header to wrap up the 3 points. Class.
It was a great header as well. Like the way he just sort of gives Rashford the little nudge, and then steps back and just bullets it in.
It's good. I was worried at first. Striker's header, just like Isak's against. Who was it? He scored the header against. That good header. Was it Wolves or was it Forest?
Wolves.
Yes, it was Wolves. It was Wolves, wasn't it? Because Forest, he scored that like flick and then the pen.
No.
It was basically very similar to that little flick into the bottom corner. So 2 cracking strikers headers, but like you were saying, Dawes, it's great to see Wilson get that goal. That'll do so much for his confidence, man. Like ridiculous. I think you could see in his celebrations when he was screaming, he was buzzing to get that goal. I think everyone was buzzing for him, to be honest. So it's almost like getting a bit of a monkey off his back because of a bit of a dry spell.
Well, it helped as well when they put the Callum Wilson song on at the end, or that'll have just like been a massive thing for him to hear, like all the fans chanting, like, and
it definitely made a weight off his shoulders
like
to get that goal.
Aye.
Gordon as well.
By the way, as well,
fantastic when he came on.
To be fair, I think every single player on the pitch had a great game.
Yeah, they did.
Whether subs or starters, not one player you can say like didn't have a great game. Like Botman's not been mentioned barely, and he was like absolutely imperious again. Like he, like obviously
just goes under the radar because he's so good.
He does. He doesn't do anything wrong, so like you don't like always pick up on it.
You only get spoke about when it's a fuck up.
But he was just like unstoppable. They didn't have a chance against him. And then like I thought it was one of Trippier's best games in a while. Like his deliveries were great. Obviously, his one for the second goal was class, but also Marcus Rashford, who like he didn't have a sniff the full game.
Nah.
He was trying to swap and wings.
Yeah,
and they still had no joy. Like Trippier, I thought dealt really well with, like, arguably the most informed player in the league. Made him look bang average.
Well,
he wasn't in the game.
No, like you could tell he was frustrated when I can't remember if it was Byrne who.
I know what you're gonna say. It was Byrne,
and his boot came off, and then like he didn't get the foul from the ref, and then you seen him like a little petulant kid just like slam his boot off the floor, and like you could just that was the moment for me, like where we were truly under their like skin, like we proper rattled them. They weren't getting their own way, and even Bruno, like Fernandes,
I was about to say
that is, like we haven't mentioned what an absolute fucking. He was glued to the ref's hip the whole game, like, and just fucking.
Just
easy.
stand
It
up.
was the Shaw challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, where he went down in the box.
That one.
That was early.
Was he trying to call it like a handball or something? But then nothing was like. There was a moment
where
where
he got fouled.
the one which went. I think it went out for a goal kick in the end, but Shaw like went in and like basically like nicked it. But he was called for a pen, but it was no way, shape, or form a pen. But he was going on about it for such a long time.
Yeah, he was the only one. Like, literally the only Man U player that was that bothered about it, and like it's just so pathetic. And again, just like
They were desperate.
They were. That's the only way they were going to get a goal. I think was they were playing for like the ref to give them a presentable chance, like a penalty or free kick. Like that was, and it's just mental. Like
That's what they had to revert to. Just fucking whinging.
Because
That's how bad it was going. Yeah, exactly. They just had to whinge and whinge.
We were the better team. Yeah.
They'll whinge every game now, even if they're winning, they'll whinge. Man U, it's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
I've seen the stats after the game. I'm sure our expected goals was over 4. So, like, it just shows how dominant we were. Like, 2-0 probably flattered Man U a little bit. It could have been and should have been probably 3 or 4.
Definitely flattered them. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, their XW was over 50 as well, wasn't it? Expected whinges.
Fucking Jesus. Expected whinges.
Yeah, see you later, lads.
We've got to go.
I just wanted to say before when we're talking about the Wilson's goal, Longstaff winning that free kick as well. He kept winning clever free kicks, and even at 2-0 towards the end, he was still winning free kicks to just keep possession. I thought he had like such a good game, Longstaff. Yeah, and it's those sort of things that kind of do go under the radar a little bit because they're not. It's not the glamorous side of the game, is it? And obviously,
I know. I remember the one you're talking about. It's running down past the benches, and Rashford's tracking back, trying to nick it off him, and he's just shielded Rashford and like caused Rashford
give it
to just like bundle into the back of him. He might have done. Might have done, but yeah, Rashford just like bundled into the back of him, and it was like, and obviously then Rashford was just like, at that point he knew the game was up, but like, it was like.
I think that's when he.
I
think that's when he did what you're saying. You give it to Gordon. Gordon was the free man, and then legged it down the line. It just played a ball in, but there was nobody there.
Yeah. No, it's just clever, like you say, like uses his body so well, Longstaff. I think he's learning a lot from the players around him. Like he uses his physicality, like Joe Linton does. All right, he's maybe not got the range of passing as Bruno, but like he can still.
I think he's picking that up from Bruno though, like getting his body between the player and the ball, because Bruno does that so well.
He does that, and
what about Bruno's meg as well?
Oh, stop it.
Man,
for a fucking Sarni. It was class.
Oh man, that was. I was getting a bit nervous because we were doing that quite a lot around our own box, but like then when that came off, like it was just man, loved it.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful that like. So he's some player, but like we'll talk about after the game. The whole fucking like we've spoke about before, the Man United fans just whinging like mad, or like all over the socials and stuff like that, saying where's it? Obviously, absolutely biting at the winning photo that we do after every fucking game. Oh, well done! Where's your trophy, lads? Well, I didn't know you won a trophy and all that. It's just fucking cry more. Absolutely hating it, man. It's fucking like it shows how much they know because we post that photo after every game that we'll win, but they seem to think that they're that fucking big and that relevant that we've just taken that photo because we're beating them. Absolute bags of shit. They are. I fucking hate them. They like.
I mean,
the most unbearable fan base. Like
they're so unbearable.
Fucking horrible, man.
The best bit I found, though, like the fans at the ground were like when they tried to start the fucking Shearer chant and immediately just got like laughed basically by all corners of the ground. Like when they started like chanting about like cheer up Alan Shearer and all this sort of crack, and it was just like, nah.
That's all they can sing about. It's all they've got is sing about Shearer. That's fucking Jesus Christ, man. Wind your neck in.
I know.
They're still fucking holding on to that. It's pathetic.
It is pathetic after like,
they left it like
nearly 30 years. Yeah.
Left it like 84 minutes, didn't they? They all walked out.
Yeah, I know.
Catch the earlier trade at King's Cross and all that.
Yeah. Pathetic.
I know. But a lot of people stayed behind after the match. It was a big win. Obviously, we jumped up to third in the fucking chasing Champions League. Now we're up to third, still with 2 games in hand over Tottenham after tonight. So it was a massive win on our road to Europe.
Oh, huge. Especially like you look at the table now after a lot of games like that went a bit. Well, it was a bit of a crazy weekend, really. I thought with results wise. You even look down at like Villa getting that 2-0 win away at Chelsea, and you're even thinking that they're in with a shout, like of breaking into this like European race, and they're 10th. Like, you know, it's getting a little bit tighter, but I'm not saying that, you know, we have to worry too much about Villa, but like, it just shows that like that win for us was that important for a lot of other reasons other than just jumping above Man United into the top 4. It just keeps us kind of moving away from all the other challenges that are popping up.
Yeah, well, Brighton have still got a game in hand over us.
it's
So
getting
we're 7
massive.
points clear now.
Their game in hand is the Man City game, thankfully.
All right.
But then the second game in hand that like we've got is the Holton and Brighton game, so that's not an easy one over everyone else.
Yeah. I was just going to say, did you watch the Brighton-Brentford game?
I suggested to put that on our Pete's, but he put the Arsenal Leeds game on instead. Unfortunately,
We thought it would be more more entertaining, and then it was
don't say we.
Don't say we.
Aye.
all right. Well, Dawson was like,
Unless they talk about how tall you are, don't talk about we.
Yeah, it was. I was in control of the remote, so it was Arsenal Leeds, and then turned out to be fucking goals galore in the Brentford game. So
Probably
That was such a good game.
I know two really class teams this season, but yeah, 3-3, crazy game.
Yeah, they were just proper going like toe to toe with each other. It was a really good game, but both of them are looking quite dangerous now, especially at Spurs. But what I was going to say was, if we start looking towards the West Ham game, if you look at the bottom half of the table, like basically Chelsea down, like everyone's kind of in the relegation battle.
Mm-hmm.
So even though West Ham are sat 14th, they're only a point above the relegation spot.
Yeah.
So it's going to be
2 leagues now, isn't it? Like essentially, like it's kind of it has got like that big gap there between 11th and 12th. It's just kind of like, I mean, yeah, Chelsea. You could argue Chelsea could still nick a like a European spot. They're probably very unlikely to, but they're still within like touching distance of like 7th place. But then anybody from like 12th down is just having their own little league and battle between themselves. Like, so it is strange how it's like kind of turned out that way. But like, it's going to make a class end of the season, both ends of the table.
And we're in the right end for once.
God, I would have hated it if we were in that relegation battle right now.
Unbearable, wouldn't it?
Oh man, like every game is massive, like down there right now.
This is the thing, West Ham. Like, you think 14th, sort of like mid-table, they might not be that bothered, but really, they're right in amongst the relegation battle, so it's going to be a huge game for them. At home, obviously.
So they've got games in hand over some of the teams around them. Fair enough, but like, they know they've got to start picking up results because otherwise, they can slide down there. I'm still not able to fully call who's going to go down. To be honest, like it's too hard to call.
Well, in terms of West Ham, then. I think we're staying down London, aren't we, as well, between West Ham and
we are.
Is that right? What are we thinking for the West Ham game? Obviously, with the performance we've just had, we've got to assume he's going to stick with the same starting lineup unless there's any injuries.
That's the thing with the game coming so quick. Like, there's likely to be some tired legs. Like, we'll put everything into that game on Sunday. As you said, if everyone's fit, I'd imagine the same team's going to be rolled out, but it just depends on probably the sports science people more than anyone else, how they say everyone's like recovered and stuff like that. I don't think we'll rotate massively. Like, we've only got the league to focus on, so we've got 10, 11 games left now. Like, between now and the end of the season, at the end of May, like, I think we can try and go full strength every game and not rotate too much. So,
thing is though, if there is a couple of little niggles, because we've gone about how the game didn't change when the subs were made, Joe Linton could come on to start. If Willock is feeling his hammy a little bit, we've also got Gordon, who looked sharp as anything, to come on if either Maxi or Will. I think Murphy's touch wood, or like he's never really injured, is he? I can't remember. I know he's got to really play to be injured, so he's just started to play full games. But we know what Maxi's like as well, so Gordon can come in, and I don't think the standard of the team would drop.
It's nice to have that flexibility now, though. Like, players who can actually come in and not make the first team a lot worse.
We can make 5 subs now. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Like, all season, we've not really been able to. So that's going to be huge. Like, at the 60-minute mark, making 3 subs and still having 2 you can bring up.
Well, we're talking about West Ham and all that. Red card, Everton, Decore.
Probably not the best for the toon.
It's not the best for the two, but that's what I'm saying. So Tottenham could go on. I don't know if it's going to be a pen or what. I haven't seen it, but not good for them with their league position.
Aye. I'd love to see them go down. I know they're playing Spurs tonight, but all right. So if we're going same team, looking at West Ham's recent results, they've had a real mixed bag, really. Like, some weeks you think, like, you look at the result and you're like, oh yeah, they're back to the West Ham of last season. And then they'll go and just, like, lose a game. I know they've been doing all right in Europe, haven't they? But I think the home form's pretty decent compared to the away form. But
it's massively different. Like, they haven't won an away game since August, but in the home, they haven't lost in the last 5. They've won 3 and drawn 2. So, yeah, like, they've played some decent teams. Well, I'm saying decent, like Chelsea, like, they're one of those that on paper they're a decent team, but on the pitch they're not so good.
Yeah.
But then, like, you'll see the lineup that West Ham had out on Sunday against Southampton. They've got some really good players. Like, they should not be down there. It's one of those where, like, if they go down, well, like, are they too good to go down? Like, obviously, like, the West Ham team that got relegated in the past was touted as, like, the best team to ever go down. Is likes of Ings and Bowen.
Is Moyes that good in a relegation battle? I can't remember. I don't know. I can't remember.
No, he did do very well at Everton, and when they were at the very start of his tenure at Everton, they were fighting relegation most seasons, and I'm pretty sure like he saved them with like a few games to go.
Then you've got, though, obviously back in the day, I think you had more of a how would you say it? More the type of player who would sort of grind it out for you back then. These days, like Everton, West Ham, I've got quite some flair players. Well, I say flair players, but I don't know how to say it. Players that might not be as likely to wear the heart on the sleeve for you and fight for you, which could be like many teams these days that have spent a little bit of money. So has Rodgers got that in him to get that? Has Moyes got that into him?
Rodgers
to get
the unemployed one.
Yeah, the one at the fucking job centre. Has he got that man-to-man management to get that engraved into his players that they need to actually fight?
I suppose they'll highlight Declan Rice as being the
leader,
that one player, that leader who just threw himself into everything, and maybe Antonio, like when he's fit, like he's somebody who put himself out there. But yeah, you're right. They do have a lot of like the flair, and like they do. When like last season, they were playing really good football. Like I like the wingers, like they're very, or they were playing with quite a lot of pace and like trying to get like in behind a lot of teams. Obviously, Antonio was flying, getting loads of goals. But yeah, still can't. I think they're the anomaly for me. I just can't put my finger on how they've gone. And I'm not going to label Europe at them because I don't think Europe is the reason for them dropping off as bad like this season. It can't be because they've been playing.
Yeah, they had Europe last season, didn't they? So
they had Europe last season, and they managed to go, still finish.
I think it's just the goals are dried up, isn't it? They've not really had a goal scorer. That's why they went and got Danny Ings, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the whole Scamacca thing is a bit. Is Scamacca an out-and-out attacker?
Yeah, he's
striker.
Right. So I heard some talk on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. I can't remember. I think it was Sunday. Saying that they reckon that there was a bit of, well, it wasn't actually because it was before the match. So there was a bit of chew. The thought that Scamacca was had like sort of walked out, seeing he wasn't on the sheet, the team sheet, and walked out. But then it came out that he was just turned up to the stadium to have a bit of treatment. So I don't know if there's a bit of cover-up or there's a bit of chew or what's gone on there. So obviously there's a bit of unrest. But also a lot of the West Ham fans are wanting Moyes out. So that's not what you need in a relegation battle.
Well, it's not.
No.
And I suppose they're still in the quarter-final of a European Cup, which they could very realistically win. So, like, you don't
Chelsea
need...
and Potter's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest, Chelsea probably, even if Potter was still there, they were not going to beat Real Madrid, whereas West Ham could, very realistically get all the way to that Conference League final, which... they would be massive for West Ham, but it's weighing up, going all that way in Europe, winning it, but then getting relegated. A bit like when people were saying, would we rather finish top four or win the Carabao Cup? Like
Definitely top four. Definitely top four. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We always said top four. We never that bothered about the cup. Nah. Don't know why we bothered going to Wembley in the end. Like it was,
tin pot as fuck.
Didn't need it. I didn't need it. But no, it's like it is right. Like what would you do in like West Ham fan situation, Conference League,
penalty,
or the relegation? Like you just, yeah.
Oh, you'd
I don't know.
stay in the Premier League.
There's
no doubt about that.
No, you probably would, but like they've
Europa Conference League.
Aye, but I don't know. It's
That's
whether
the
or not
harsh thing. If you win, if you win that
next season, the Conference League and we get relegated or stay up, like you take staying up all day.
Well, yeah, but I suppose where we view in the Conference League in the grand scheme of things, is it a glorified Intertoto Cup,
Probably
or
better
is
than
it
the Carabao
like?
Cup, I guess.
Like,
Carabao lower than FA Cup, I would probably say. There will have to be some
Europa
decent
Conference?
teams to win it.
Is this the Europa Conference you're talking about?
Yeah.
No, Carabao Cup's way higher than Europa Conference.
You reckon?
I think the League Cup. When you call it the League Cup rather than the fucking Carabao Cup,
The Milk Cup.
It does mean more. I think this the Conference League is just a fucking farce, to be honest. Like, I don't think it should be there.
You say that, but like, you say
man.
that.
A Conference League for Europa, however, man, it's just fucking stupid. Because you might as well have a Conference League for the League Cup. It's just fucking bollocks. Like, it's a made up gimmick. It's shit.
Yeah, but that's where everything starts. The Champions League was a made up thing at one point.
Conference,
but now look at it.
The conference is the fucking lowest league in the leagues, apart from
Well,
non-league.
they keep saying conference.
But you've just said if you call it the League Cup instead of the Carabao Cup. So if you're just going off the name,
No, because but that's what it's called though.
it's like it's the third European.
It's
Cup,
fucking
Yeah. It's the
Right,
it's
so
the
it's
lowest one.
You can't go down to the Championship to win that.
It's fucking dog
Sorry,
shit.
Alex.
No, but West Ham are in they're in a similar position as the Toon are in terms of it's been like decades since they've won something. Like,
I get what you're saying. If we were in Europa Conference League, I'd be absolutely buzzing like a fridge that we're in we're in Europe and we're in the Conference League. But let's not beat around the bush. It's a fucking pissy trophy. Like, they went to fucking Iron Appa for a match, man.
You wouldn't want to be in that competition.
I 100% want to be an Iron Appa. But when you put it on paper, it's like, fucking hell, man.
Aye, but look at the teams that have made it to the quarterfinals this season, and don't forget that Roma won it last season. So big club.
Yeah,
Roma. But
because they're playing teams like fucking Iron Appa.
Wait, if you let me finish, the quarterfinals.
Then teams like Bosnia.
Oh yeah, that famous Bosnia club. I mean, Lech Poznan of Poland, pretty decent Polish team.
You're not helping yourself when you're talking to people like
Fiorentina. They're playing Fiorentina, big name.
Right, enough Fiorentina. Don't stop going all footy man on us, mate. Fucking.
I'm not, but
yes,
like
Poznan
you've
and
got.
all that.
You got West Ham are playing against Ghent from Belgium. Anderlecht are playing AZ Alkmaar, and Basel are playing Nice.
So this is the quarterfinals. Let's go back to the fourth round. Who was playing?
Lazio, Villarreal, decent teams.
The question was
wrong. There's also a load of fucking shite. You know what it's like? I play golf, right? It's like when you buy a bag of fucking second-hand golf balls and there's a few Pro V1s in there and you fucking get in. There's also Donnies and all that. And you hide the Donnies away because they're shit and you only want to play with Pro Vs. That's what it's like. It's fucking bollocks, man.
We're going to go lost in lads.
That's what it's like. You've got to sift through the shite to eventually get rid of, to get to the good bit, which is the semis and all that. That's what it's like.
But the point is they're in the quarterfinals and they're also in a relegation battle. So
I know. I just
at
went
this
off track
point,
and started saying how shit the cup is, mate.
moving back to West Ham, then, lads. Do you want to go over the game at St James's? Have a look back at that game.
It was a bit of a strange one. I felt like we again should have won that game. I felt, but there was we had the one ruled out early on, but then it was a sloppy goal that put West Ham ahead, which or was it? Wait, did West Ham score first? I think they did.
No, we did, because we scored. Joe Willock scored within a minute, but it was ruled off. They ruled that the ball went out for a goal kick, and then it was disallowed. And then Wilson scored because Wilson was one on one with the keeper and slotted it past them.
Aye, no, my bad.
I think West Ham scored maybe 3/4 of the way through the second half. Halfway through the second half, 3/4 of the way through the game.
Aye, and then they could have went ahead as well. The lad who just scored his first goal in the other game against Southampton, Aguerd, I think his name is Aguerd. Yeah, he should have scored in that game at St James's as well. He had a clear header which he put over the bar. So I mean, they created chances against us. We had a little bit of an off day. I felt weren't at our fluid best. So we can't be letting any of that
Bruno
creep
didn't
back
play,
in.
did he? Because
No,
there was the whole Paqueta Bruno thing, and then Bruno didn't end up playing. I think was it his ankle injury or was he suspended?
Yeah, he completely missed out that game.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting.
They are good mates. So yeah.
But also, he improves us so much. So
yeah,
if you're taking the game at St James's Park, I know we're playing at their place, but you expect to see an improvement with seeing Isaac in form, Bruno starting.
Yeah, full team's flying.
Basically, a full strength team from us. So I'm pretty positive with our chances to going down there.
Do you know how many away tickets we get for West Ham? Because it's a pretty sizable stadium, isn't it?
It's always 5% max. Well, 5% minimum, sorry, is the Premier League rules. So I think the stadium's about similar to ours, isn't it?
I think they've got 60,000.
60,000.
Yeah, a little bit more than us.
Yeah, so we're expecting 3,000 tickets at least, so it should be a decent contingent going down, even though it is a weeknight and also the start of 3 away games on the trot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder how many fans will stop down in London.
Yeah, you'd think quite a few.
Be a kind of trip, to be fair.
Yeah. It's Brentford on the weekend as well, so yeah, it would make sense for anyone who's going to both games just to stay down there, especially the price of bloody train tickets.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that is prediction time. And West Ham
how
away.
did we do? How did we do on our predictions from...
I said 2-0, by the way.
Oh, well, he did.
Oh, you did. You did, aye.
I did.
I was going to say if nobody got it right, but there you go. All right, first time anyone's got it right.
Clearly not written them down.
No, I'll just look there. Aye, 2-0. I said 2-1. Obviously wrong. Tom, you said 1-0. Dorse, you said 2-1 as well. So, gonna have to actually start doing this league table now that somebody's got it right.
We're off the mark.
Pete, stop the table.
Well, I'm gonna stick with the same scoreline, mate, and I'm gonna go 2-0 to the Toon. Of course.
So I'll put 0-2.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Toon. I do think we'll concede, but we'll have too much for them.
So I'm going 2s each, I think.
Oof, goals galore.
Yeah,
I'm going to go for a sneaky little 1-0 win.
Ooh.
We've been good defending all season. I don't care for what their players. Fuck them. They're not going to score.
Fuck 'em.
Shove the fucking bubbles
All
up
right,
your arse.
Obviously, we'll be back to review this game, and we'll be previewing the Brentford game as well in the next one.
Nice quick turnaround.
Hopefully, by the end of this week, we could be absolutely flying. What's the score? What's the latest score in the Spurs game?
1-1 Spurs, unfortunately, later on, so drop back down to 4th place as it stands.
But it's looking apparently as though they're a bit nervy, so Everton might still make a point, which would be great.
But they're down to
Fantastic
10 men,
result,
Everton.
Aye, down to 10.
Oh, wait, we'll just have to go smash West Ham then. So, join us for that one, guys. Like, subscribe, follow the podcast, and we'll see you in the next one.